Hello and welcome to the Learning Pro Live. My name's Cath Ellis, and today I want to talk about some of the differences working for yourself versus working for an e-learning agency. And I'm going to break it down for you. So let's take a look. So this is my opinion, the 6 main roles in an e-learning agency and some of the hats that you're going to have to wear as a freelance learning designer. So let me kind of break it down, how it's going to look if you, for example, are working at an agency. And of course, these terms are going to be different depending on where you're working. But overall, the lead that comes into a business generally goes through to a business manager or a sales manager of some sort. It then, once the lead has been accepted, will funnel through to a learning and development manager of some sort, someone who's in charge of basically people like us, right? The learning designers. So it's going to come through the business manager. It's going to go down through to the L&D manager, who's going to allocate it to a team. And generally that team will consist of a project manager, an ID, or learning experience designer, and a digital designer. Sometimes it might be one person that's doing that role. They're doing the ID and also the digital design. And then the last person might be an LMS Administrator. What I'm trying to get at is there's multiple roles that you're going to have kind of hands across, or at least some understanding. And I want to help you guys, especially who are wanting to transition into this field. Now, depending on where you're tuning in from, I've got people tuning in already. Now, this is going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, what else? Twitter. It's also going out to Twitch. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to know. And if you've got any questions about what I'm talking about, drop them in the comments below so I can see them, and I'll pop them in on the screen and I'll answer you. That's the whole beauty of me doing these live streams, answering your questions right there and then. But of course, if you're watching this on replay, you can drop them in the comments, and I always get back to people. All right, so let's take a look at the very first role, and that is a business manager. And let's look at some of the roles and responsibilities that they be in charge of. So first thing, probably the most difficult thing, is following up on leads. So sometimes that could be them cold calling. It could be leads coming in through the website. It could be leads coming in through recommendations, etc. The second thing that they're really responsible for, and this is very high level, but I'm wanting to kind of give you an overview of the kind of things that people would be doing, meeting with clients, whether that's via Zoom, face-to-face. Really, the business manager will be the first point of call. It's not going to be an ID if you're working out there in an agency. Okay, next thing that they're going to be doing is completing things like or taking ownership over writing proposals, completing briefs, requests for proposals. You've probably heard all these different terms. RPF, request for proposal. So that's going to be one of their tasks that they're going to be doing. Providing quotes. Okay, so again, it's not going to be something that they'll do on their own, and you'll see I've kind of indicated at certain roles who's involved in that role of providing a quote, but generally the business manager will be the one who will do that first point of negotiation, and also negotiating any change requests. So generally the business manager will be the one who will keep in contact with that client and will say, how's everything going with the module? Do you need any changes? And then we'll kind of put the pricing structure, or we'll be responsible for doing that at that stage. So there's quite a few things that a business manager will do that you will have to take on as a freelance learning designer, all of these things. And through these set of videos, I'm going to try and go through them in more detail to kind of give you some tips and tricks on what I've learned over the years and how you can do it too. So the second role is the L&D Manager. So that job comes through, and really the business manager will work with the L&D Manager to fine-tune things like the quotes, okay, and the pricing. They're going to work with the L&D Manager to identify how many hours effort is going to be, what is going to be involved in trying to achieve this for the client. And a good L&D Manager will also get the team involved in that. So it won't be something that the manager just works out. In my experience working at e-learning agencies, I was asked for my input. How long do you think this is going to take to achieve this goal, Cath? You know, and that's really good. That's a sign of a really great agency. So L&D Manager will also be in charge of managing resources. So if I get a job that comes in needing video editing, that's, you know, something that's past my capability, I will, as a freelancer, have to manage those resources too. So, you know, the L&D Manager might need to get extra effort in their team to you know, if they've got a lot of jobs coming in, etc. So that's going to be one of the things they're going to manage. Reviewing all deliverables. So generally the L&D Manager will oversee all the deliverables that will be coming in and will give feedback on those too, even though it's being quality assured through the team. And managing workload. So something that really I didn't understand while I was working at the agency was some of the language that my managers would use, like you were this % productive this month. Well, what I'll say to you is, as a L&D Manager, they'll be looking at, are you being allocated your work correctly? And the same with you as a freelancer, you'll want to make sure that your allocation, you've got the right amount of work coming in, so you're just being busy, right? Okay, so the third role is the project manager, who will hopefully look a bit happier than this chap in this video. And the project manager will be responsible for developing that project plan. So the job comes through, allocated to the L&D manager. L&D manager goes, okay, which project manager am I going to assign this to, and his team of designers, or her team of designers. So they'll put together the project plan, and they'll make sure that they're really the ones that are taking care of the client in a way. They're leading all the meetings, they're communicating with the clients. They're also the person that's kind of you could say the baddie, the one who has the difficult conversations with the client, prevents anything that like scope creep, and obviously works with the rest of the project team. So the rest of the project team is going to be the instructional designer or the learning experience designer. And like I said before, some of you will be doing multiple roles. So some of you might be doing an end-to-end solution, like doing the instructional design and also the digital design on the project. So to give you an idea, if you were doing a standalone, if you were being hired as an instructional designer in an e-learning agency and not doing the digital design, you'd be coming up with the learning strategy that would be going forward with the project, creating the course overview, so working out what order of content is going to be delivered and what kind of activities and what the duration is going to be on all of those different components. You'd be writing the storyboard, okay? If you've got scripts, you'd be writing scripts, things like that. And you'd obviously be ensuring quality assurance on not only the work that you're doing. You might also be asked to do quality assurance on other ID team members, or learning experience designers. And you'll also be making sure that you're doing quality assurance on everything that the digital designer's doing. Really, you're working very closely as a team. The next role is going to be the digital designer. And just like the instructional designer, they'll be working out the visual strategy moving forward with the project. They'll be creating the visual mock-up, and they'll also be designing and developing the GUI, the graphical user interface. Okay, so everything that you've put together in the storyboard, they're going to interpret that and build it into the actual product, whether it's a e-learning module, an app, whether it is, anything. They'll do the same. They'll ensure that they're checking their quality assurance, and they'll also be checking the storyboard. So this is why I say to a lot of people who are wanting to come out for the first time in the industry, go and work for an agency. Go and get your head around all of these different roles so you can really get a good understanding of what it's like to go through the whole process. It can be quite difficult, and this is why I thought this would be useful doing this video this way. Like I said before, working with the project team is really important. So to give you an idea, and I might do another video as well of what a agency looks like as far as people, where they sit, how they go, and they do brainstorming, things like that. Now, I've got a comment from my friend Valentina. She said, this video is a gem for everyone who's looking for directions on how to communicate what they do and how it's relevant for a role they want to get, especially if you're transitioning from freelancing to employment, as I did some time ago. I'm hoping that that's exactly the key. I wanted to break this down, Valentina, because it's something that I don't think people are really talking about, or breaking it down as such. Now, my last role may not be applicable, but I wanted to go through it anyway, and that is an LMS administrator. Now, in a lot of e-learning agencies, there will be someone who will be there who might assist with testing. So it's not all the time that we're building modules in an e-learning agency in this day and age. We're building apps and we're building lots of different things. So might be that the LMS administrator is someone that is tasked with testing, not only that the module or the product works, that it's working on various devices. There's a lot of e-learning agencies that actually oversee learning management systems, multiple iterations for clients. So they'll upload the module into the client's portal. They'll be deploying it out to learners. They'll be providing support, etc. So this is just another one that I thought was key, because as a freelancer, you're really going to be tested. You're going to have clients who come to you with very, very difficult challenges that they're wanting to achieve. So you might have a client who's an entrepreneur who's wanting to sell their own product and is saying, I need an LMS. Now, I'm not going to recommend that they use something like Moodle or Totara or Talent LMS or any of these kind of products. I'm going to recommend that they use something more like Teachable or Thinkific, one of these kind of platforms, or Learn Worlds. So you've got, certainly in this day and age, this age of people creating their own courses, passive income, it's not, as a freelancer, you're going to be approached by people who don't just need corporate products, that they're needing their own entrepreneurial products developed. So it's good that you have an eye out on all of these different kinds of roles. So I wanted to just break that down. I'm going to keep this quite short, but I wanted to break down this video and show you some of the responsibilities that you might have to undertake. And you might go, okay, there's things there that I'm not quite so sure on, but these are certainly within my workflow, the tasks that I do when I'm working with a client. So I hope this video has been useful. Thank you for your comment, Valentina. We have got people tuning in, but I'm not sure why everyone's being quiet. That's okay, they're lurking. If you do have any comments or questions for me, drop them in the comments below. And if this video has been helpful, please, I do have a little thing, like and subscribe for me. That is always very useful. It tells me kind of you're enjoying these videos and you want to see more. If there's anything in particular you'd like me to cover, please, again, drop them in the comments below. I'm going to try and go through all of these different stages so that you're aware of some of these stages and what they look like in the real world, because, obviously I'm trying to give you the big picture here. Thank you, Tom, for your lovely comment. Appreciate it. And yeah, so I'm going to tune in again next week with more videos. Hope to see you there. Don't be shy. Ask questions. I'm happy to go in as much detail as possible. Crystal says, hi, I'm very familiar with what you've described. Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield when you first start out, trying to, make sure you're all over these things. So anyway, fantastic. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.